Hey guys, so today I'll be doing part 3 for what if Goku was like Cell. So we see now Piccolo escapes the rice cooker due to the Pilaf gang's help, and Piccolo asks, "Who has released me from my slumber?" And and then the Pilaf gang is very scared because now they see a giant green man towering above them, and he seems quite intimidating. So they then explain who they are, and they talked with Piccolo because Piccolo is actually happy that he was released by these few people. So then Piccolo now spits out like his children as original, and everything goes as original until Piccolo makes his wishes. Due to the fact now that the Dragon Balls are only have one wish, Kami thinks of something that would make him um survive, like to be immortal and to be young, so that he could like raise an army of children to conquer the world with him. So he words the wish in such a way that he gets immortality and his youth. He says, "I wish to be immortal at my prime," which the dragon then does, and then he kills the dragon. So now we see Goku releasing his final attack at Piccolo, for which Piccolo spits one final egg, which is Piccolo Jr. And then after that, when everyone is wrapping up and trying to escape, a small blast grazes Goku's cheek, and as we turn around, we now see a fully formed Demon King Piccolo cackling to himself about how now he is the most powerful being in the whole planet. So now, Piccolo hacks, like he uses his abilities to the max. He first gives birth to 20 children, right? And due to the fact that like having children shortens your lifespan but doesn't reduce your power level, Piccolo then absorbs these children to double and multiply his power level. Like he keeps spamming this, and he uses this ability to now bring up his power level to the exact point where Goku is right now. Like Goku and Piccolo now are evenly matched, and now they start to fight. And Goku is actually shocked because like no one has ever put him in such a situation, and he gets angry because Piccolo first he killed Krillin. He remembers that. He destroyed the Dragon Balls. He remembers that. Then Piccolo makes one final mistake. He says, "After this, I'm gonna destroy this whole planet and take it over and make the whole human race my slaves." And Goku's Frieza cells made him very possessive of the planet Earth. Like you see the way like the Frieza Empire is like all those Frieza race people like having an empire, and they're very colonial. That's imparted in Goku also, so he feels like the Earth belongs to him to a certain extent. So Goku gets angry, and he finally unlocks the form of Ikari and mixed with his Frieza race transformation. So this transformation increases his power level by 15%, 10% by the Ikari, and 5 times by the sheer strength of the Frieza race. So now Goku starts pummeling Piccolo, and he realizes now at this point he will not be able to like finally kill Piccolo. So he has one final plan. He gets Piccolo, carries him all the way to Kami's lookout, and forces Kami to fuse with Piccolo. So Kami now takes Piccolo Senior and then fuses with him, which means now Kami becomes as powerful as even Ikari Goku. And now King Piccolo is no longer a threat to the Saiyans or to the whole planet Earth because he has been absorbed by Kami. And due to the fact now that the mortal bond between Kami is still with Piccolo Jr. instead of Piccolo Senior, that means now that Kami will still like be bonded to like Piccolo, but he'll now have the powers of Demon King Piccolo and be as strong as the original nameless Namekian. So now, what happens now is we see Piccolo being born, and due to the fact that the Demon King Piccolo put all his mortal energy into Piccolo Jr. Piccolo Jr. in this scenario is born with a power level of about 2,000, because Piccolo used all the powers he thought he had at that moment, and due to the fact that he was immortal, Piccolo is given such a dramatically increased life energy and key than he was in the original. So he's literally at a power level of 2,000, and as he trains, his potential is even higher than that, because he was now birthed from a once original Namekian. So now we see the tournament go on, and we see a fight between Goku and Kami's in this fight, and Piccolo Jr.'s in this fight. So for the final match, we see a battle royale between the three fighters, because none of them were willing to back down at this point. So now we see Piccolo with a power level, because he trained like crazy to the point where it would be as strong as Ikari Goku. Kami started slacking because he had duties to do, so he wasn't as strong. And Goku, at his original power level right now, it's still suppressed. So right now it's about 15,000, and Piccolo is about 14,900. So it's still quite close. They start fighting, and Kami, in the beginning, gets knocked out by Piccolo because he's not as strong. And then now it's Piccolo versus Goku. They start spamming their abilities, and they start using them against each other, and they're actually having quite a lot of fun. But what happens in the end is it comes down to one final punch, and Goku manages to edge out Piccolo slightly. Means that Piccolo is the first one to land on the ground, then it's Goku. So even though it is technically a tie, the first one to hit the ground and not come up is Piccolo, which means that Goku narrowly wins the fight. So Piccolo and Goku are now acquaintances. I wouldn't say they're friends, but they train together much more than before, because Piccolo wants to become stronger and learn how to become more powerful overall. In the meantime, we now see Frieza in his spaceship, and he's still thinking about the boy who was injected with Frieza DNA and the DNA of many other species. And he wonders, if this boy was to come against me, would I be able to actually defeat him? Because earlier he finds one of his soldiers finds out that the Saiyans had been working on experiments to give the DNA of other aliens into their own Saiyan warriors, to create warriors that could defeat the Frieza race. So Frieza is actually curious about this, and he doesn't want to take any chances. So even though he discussed him to do, he goes to his forces and his scientists, and he orders them to create some DNA for him to start utilizing, so that if any Saiyans were actually injected with the serum, they would not be able to defeat him, and he would still have the edge up on them. So Frieza, in this case, since he hates Saiyans, he's not putting any Saiyan DNA in himself, but he decides to put himself some Namekian DNA so that he would be able to regenerate. And for safe, just in case, he makes sure to put some Yardratian DNA and Carnassian DNA, which was remaining, to make sure that he would at least be able to see what's gonna happen before it actually does happen. So it's quite weird, because in this scenario, Frieza, due to his larger amount of scientists, he actually gets a higher quantity of Carnassian DNA, which Goku isn't gonna be able to have, since the Carnassians got eradicated. So the way that Goku's DNA increases is he has to be nearby people of that other race. So right now, due to Goku's years with Kami, Goku's Namekian DNA potential has increased from 1% to now it's about 5%. So he's now able to like regenerate, even though it's quite hard for him. So now in like a distant space aerospace, we now see Raditz entering a spaceport, ready to launch himself to planet Earth. And in this scenario, I'll say Goku actually doesn't marry Chi-Chi because he's more analytical and he decides that he doesn't actually like Chi-Chi in that way. So due to that, and he actually knows what marriage is, he lets Chi-Chi down like slowly, and Chi-Chi actually understands and isn't as angry about it, because even in the original, back when she asked him to marry her, Goku knew what that was and he actually refused in the beginning. So now that means Goku is actually single right now, and unfortunately that means like for the time being there's actually no Gohan. But we now also cue to a lab deep inside a mountain where an old man who is now like bent on revenge against Goku is assembling his first android robots. We now see due to the fact that Goku destroyed the Red Ribbon base in such a manner and he left the other half still remaining, Jiro actually had more supplies to build his androids, and that meant he managed to build them even faster than before. He even managed to like get all the DNA that Goku had and even get more potent inside of his androids, so that they'll actually be able to use more abilities than Goku even can in this part. So we now see androids 17 and 18 ready, fully formed and ready to come out of their pods with android 16. And on top of this, we now see a green bug-like creature bubbling inside of a chamber, ready to be released. So Jiro decides that he doesn't need all of his androids for the first attack, so he just sends himself, like he just goes by himself to try and attack. But just in case, he puts on something, he puts on his machine and he says, if I'm not back in the next 1 month, then you will release all of my androids, but one by one. So first you must send android 16, then android 18 6 hours later, then the other remaining androids you should send them a year afterward, and in the meantime you should be collecting DNA from all the other Z fighters and recording it to make continuous developments on these androids. So he sets this and he sets off to attack Goku with android 16 because he realized that he might need some manpower. So next to come out in just 1 month would be android 18. So they go and they meet up with Goku and they start fighting. Jiro says, I will kill you, Goku, for all you have done to me and like all of our forces, and I will finally destroy you for what you have done. So Goku and Jiro start fighting, and out comes android 16 to actually fight Goku also. So Goku is actually on the back foot and he's about to die and about to lose, until out of nowhere we see a new warrior come, which is future Gohan, and he comes and saves Goku from his impending death. So Gohan in this scenario has permanently yellow hair, which makes Goku fascinated on why this boy looks kinda like him, but he has yellow hair. But he brushes that aside for the moment. And so what happens now is Gohan says, no time to explain, I'm on your side. You will take the old man and I'll take the android, the other guy. So they start fighting, and Goku is now actually able to beat Jiro. And when he's about to finish Jiro with a blast, Jiro finally shows Goku the results of his android development, and he absorbs the blast, meaning that Jiro actually becomes even stronger than Goku, and they start fighting. Every attack that Goku did on Jiro would just be regenerated and would give Jiro a Zenkai, because now he has Saiyan DNA. and Jiro is actually putting Goku on the back foot until Goku gets a tap of his energy, and he manages to reduce the limits of his suppressor, making his power level go from 15,000 all the way to 30,000 just by that one shortage of energy. So Goku, for that split second, punches Jiro so hard that half of his body is broken off. But then his limiter turns itself back on and Goku goes back to 15,000. Goku leaves Jiro for dead, thinking that he has won. But when he turns around, he sees Jiro fully formed and breathing heavily. And he says, "Thank you for that Namekian DNA, you pest. It has actually helped me become stronger." So Goku and Jiro are now fighting it out, and Jiro is still exhausted from that regeneration, but Goku's exhausted also, and it seems like there's no clear winner. But then future Gohan actually destroys Android 16 and leaves only the head, because he knows that this one is fully mechanical and can be reprogrammed. So he leaves the head and is ready to give it to Bulma later on. And now future Gohan starts helping Goku against this other android. But what shocks Goku is he sees future Gohan's power level spike up and go up 50 times, and he manages to destroy Jiro, which makes Goku very confused on what this transformation actually is, because he has never seen a human use such a transformation before. So now after this, Goku and Gohan start discussing, and Gohan explains how he's a warrior from the future and where like the androids destroyed everybody, and he now needs Goku's help in defeating these androids. So Goku agrees and decides to train Gohan up, even though Gohan is stronger right now, so that they could like divulge information and become strong enough to defeat these warriors. So they start and they go to enter the time chamber, and they train for only 6 hours. But then now we see our next threat. Android 18 came out of her pod, and once she came out, she also decided to release Android 17 earlier than usual. So now they both come out of the pods, and now they begin to fight with Goku and Gohan. And Gohan expresses how these were the androids that destroyed his timeline and made it as horrible as it is now. But these androids at first, because they've just come out, they express how confused they are and what they're doing here and why they are fighting these guys. But then all of a sudden, the android programming takes over their body and their eyes turn red and they start fighting. So in this scenario, actually, Jiro kidnapped them earlier, which means that they aren't as programmed as they usually were, and they aren't as evil. So Jiro's program actually has to force them to fight. So Goku actually takes a liking to the girl with yellow hair, and he decides that he's gonna save her and make her his wife. So Goku starts fighting them, and he manages to defeat Android 18, while future Gohan is having a bit more struggle with Android 17 due to the power that Android 17 has. So Goku and Gohan start fighting Android 17, but Android 17 has been given much more abilities than even before. So now, like, Goku and Gohan punch him, but now Jiro planned for this and give Android 17 a Zenkai boost that is insane. Like, it's double that Goku even gets right now. So for every punch, 17 was increasing dramatically, and he manages to beat up both Goku and Gohan. And while he's about to finish them off, we now see a greenish figure move into the landscape, and it gets Android 17 with its tail and absorbs him. This is Cell, who now has become semi-perfect. So Goku sees what's going on, and he sees that if he doesn't do anything now, Android 18 will get absorbed also, and they will both die. He unlocks a power he never thought he had before from his Yardratian side, and something just tells him put your fingers on your forehead and focus on Kami. So Goku hugs 18 and grabs Gohan's arm and teleports them both to Kami's lookout. So this is where I'm gonna leave it for now. We now see all of everyone messed up now. They've all gotten beaten up, and now it's up to Goku and future Gohan to come up with a way to save the reality from these androids. And in the meantime, right now, Raditz is literally flying all the way to planet Earth with his own things to tell Kakarot. But as he's flying to Earth, he senses the power levels that are appearing on his scouter. 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, and his scouter almost breaks, but he turns off the power reading section just before it does. And he tells Nappa and Vegeta that he's gonna need backup because he's sensing power levels of 30,000 from such a faraway distance. For which Vegeta gets intrigued on how this low-class Saiyan had managed to get powers that even surpassed his. So they all start flying to planet Earth. Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta ready to see what this low-class Saiyan can actually do. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.